YouTube, what's going on? Rome back with another video vlog, if you will, if you want to call it that. I'm just here again. Just want to talk to you guys. Um, I actually am encouraged to do a video, kind of speaking on my gaming background and why I have been a Sony pony since 1994. I actually been a Sony fan since before that, since like 1991. But like I officially became a Sony pony in 1994. But shout out to Johnny J. Shout out to Peter Parker, man. They actually gave me the influence and encouragement to do this video here, speaking on my gaming history, my gaming background and stuff, and kind of like, let y'all, like give you a little bit of story, man. I'm gonna try not to make this video long. I don't want to, say a whole bunch of stuff that, man, just kind of like just run in my mouth. I don't want to do that. Everything that I want to say, I wanted to have weight to it. I wanted to be significant. I wanted y'all to like feel what I'm saying, because I think that's important, man. It's important. Like when you listen to other cats like Sick Humor and Porter Rock and stuff, like when you listen to them cats, man, and other ones, OBJ, like when you listen to them dudes, man, they're coming from a real place. They being real. There's no agenda or nothing. They're relatable. And I think that's important when it comes to talking to people, man, being real, because that's how you're relatable. When you're being fake and you have an agenda and stuff like that, people can see right through it. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, people get called out on it, for one, and then people just don't respect it. You know what I mean? Because they know you out here with an agenda and you're not keeping it all the way 100. You're not being completely objective. You know what I mean? You being very, I don't know how to explain that, but it's garbage, bro. And I don't respect it. And personally, I hate it. Even dealing with people that personally on a day-to-day basis, man. When they ain't keeping it 100, bro, that is like some of the most annoyingest shit in the world, man. Excuse my language, but that's just what it is. It's annoying, man. It's annoying, and it's frustrating, because they waste your time. You know what I mean? And I don't want that. And I'm not trying to waste your time. I'm not. But I enjoy doing this, and honestly, I enjoy talking, but more importantly, I enjoy listening, man. I enjoy listening to people who have something to say, who have something substantial to say, that has words that's filled with meaning and everything. As a matter of fact, man, not to jump off subject, because I'm going to get to the point, but I want my life to be filled with meaning, man. I don't want to just tell you, I love Cleveland because I'm from Cleveland. I want to tell you, yeah, I don't want to tell you that I'm from Cleveland. I want to tell you, or I don't want to tell you I love Cleveland. Listen to me. I don't want to tell you that I love Cleveland. I want to tell you why I love Cleveland. I want to tell you all the reasons why I love Cleveland. You know what I mean? I don't want to just tell you that. And if you don't know, I am from Cleveland. And I'm a proud Clevelander. I'm from the land. And I like talking about it because I'm proud of it. I'm proud of my home. I'm born and raised here and everything else, man. Boy, I just jumbled that up, didn't I? That was terrible. Excuse me for that. I'm sorry. But like I said, I want to be real with y'all, because y'all can relate to me and I can relate to y'all. Like, that's the whole point of being real. I would rather be real and people don't like me than being fake for people to like me. You know what I'm saying? That's too much work. It's a lot of work to be fake. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of effort. You gotta memory. You gotta memorize the stuff that you lied about, that you can't keep it real about. It's garbage. It's garbage. Cause you catch people in lies all the time when people ain't being real. You catch people in lies all the time, and it's frustrating. And that's another thing, man. I'm a Leo, so I'm I'm real. I can get real emotional, man. I can get real hype. I can get real. But that's just me. That's just me. You know, I am hot or cold. I'm like almost never in the middle. Never, never. But I tell you what, man, I'm one of the coolest dudes you ever meet in your life, and that's the truth, man. Cause I never BS you. I never lie to you. I never betray you, backstab you, switch up on you. I won't never do none of that, man. I'm loyal, bro, and I believe strongly in loyalty. Strongly, you know. Like I said, what's life without meaning? And I want everything that I do to have meaning behind it, man. I don't care if it's tying up my damn shoe. I want it to have some meaning behind it. You know what I mean? But just to get on to the point, man. Like I said, I started gaming when I was early, man. Like I said in my video yesterday, I was gaming at like 3 years old, man, playing Atari. And I thought that was intriguing, but that wasn't like enough. Like it was, and I think the reason why it was so intriguing is because I was able to control whatever was on my TV screen with a little remote in my hand, and I thought that was fascinating, especially watching TV and then you see it, you know, you just watching TV. It's just different, man. But you know, that my love, my that was my fascination with it, right? But my love started with Nintendo. Nintendo was really got me like on like really passionate about gaming and why I loved it. And for years when the Nintendo came out back in '85, when the Nintendo came out, I couldn't afford a Nintendo. Or my mother couldn't afford a Nintendo. I know I couldn't. Shit, I was only 5, 6 years old, whatever. I couldn't afford a Nintendo. So for a long time, my mom, she couldn't afford it, and I had to go over to my friend's house and play their Nintendos. And I enjoyed myself. It was bad too, because I always wanted to go over to my friend's house to play. And I'm like, man, I just want to play some Nintendo. I just want that was terrible. Because I was like really hooked. Playing games like Super Mario, Mario Brothers, Super Mario, Kung Fu, Mario 2, Ninja Gaiden. Loved those games. Loved them. Loved them games. You know, when you just pass a controller, that's what we had to do. Especially Ninja Gaiden. When your homeboy die, he give up the controller, give you the controller, then you play. And then you die, you got to give up the stick. One controller. But it was so fun, man. That was so fun. And then, like I said, I couldn't go over, I had to go over to my friend's houses to play because I couldn't play. And once I was able to go over to once I was able to get my own Nintendo, because my mom finally was able to get my Nintendo, and that was in 1989. Christmas. That was Christmas of '89 when she got my Nintendo. And I was happy as hell. And my mother couldn't afford that Nintendo. I think she had help from my grandmother to get that Nintendo. As a matter of fact, on Christmas, she wrapped my Nintendo up in aluminum foil because she couldn't afford wrapping paper. She couldn't afford it. She wrapped it up in aluminum foil. And I think it was up under the tree for like weeks, maybe almost a month. It was up under the tree, and I was just so excited. And when my friends used to come over, had spent a night, we would listen, like shake the box and like, yep. And my friends would say, "It's a Nintendo. It's a Nintendo." You know, getting me more and more hyped. And then finally, when Christmas came, I opened it up. It was sure enough a Nintendo. I was happy as hell. My dad came over, brought me a TV to hook my Nintendo up. And it was hooked. It wasn't even hooked up in my room. It was hooked up on the dining room table in the living room, and I had my Nintendo hooked up on a dining room table. Boy, I was poor. I was living in the hood, man, in the projects, bro. That's where I'm from, the projects. So, like I said, long journey. I'm definitely a place I don't want to go back to. But I never forget where I came from. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I played a Nintendo. I had started out my Nintendo system with a game called Pro Wrestling, and I had Super Mario and Duck Hunt, and I want to say that was it. I think I only had those 3 games, but boy, did I enjoy playing the hell out of them games. I was playing with a dude. His name was Starman. That was my favorite dude because he looked like a ninja and he had a big star on his face. Starman. That was my favorite player. I main characters. That's what I do when I play fighting games. I main them. I don't. That might be a bad thing, but when I find a character I like, I play with them, I master them, and I will kick your ass with them. But anyways, um, that was Christmas of '94. I mean, Christmas of 1989 Christmas. My mother, right after she bought my Nintendo, she actually passed away that following February. She passed away February 9th of 1990. So I had my Nintendo for a couple of months before I ended up moving over to my grandma's house. And when I was living with her, my uncle was living there. And with that, my Nintendo got stole. So I only had the Nintendo like 3 months or something with February, December, January, February. Yeah, like 2 months, 2.5 months or something, 2 months, whatever. Um, and I was devastated, devastated. My mom and my grandmother knew how crushed I was, so she let me stay home from school that day. And the funny thing is, I got up that morning to play the Nintendo. And and it wasn't there. It wasn't sitting on top of the TV at my grandma's house or whatever. And I'm like, where's my Nintendo? And never dawned on me that it got stolen. So I'm looking all around the house for, like, where's my Nintendo? I woke my grandmother up like, my Nintendo gone. And she knew what was up. She told me. It got stolen. Actually, she didn't tell me it got stolen. She played crazy. Like, I don't know what happened to it, but then I heard her cussing my uncle out about stealing my Nintendo. And I was, like I said, I was crushed about it. I went without my Nintendo for like maybe, 2 weeks or something like that. And my grandmother replaced the Nintendo with a Sega Master System. And then I was happy with the Sega Master System. And also, I found out that I wasn't the only kid. Even though the Sega Master System wasn't near as popular as the Nintendo, it was cool to know that I actually had a friend that I just met from moving over to my grandma's house that had a Sega Master System too. So we both shared games. He loaned me games, and it was fun, man. I was cool with that for a while until I was able to get me another Nintendo. Because actually what happened was, how I got the new Nintendo was my grandmother house that I was living at caught on fire. And when the house caught on fire, my Sega Master System melted. And I was crushed. Damn, I was crushed. And that was the house. I moved into my grandma's house. I got the new Nintendo. In May of that same year, the house caught on fire. And my Sega Master System was destroyed. Essentially, it was melted. It worked when I told you yesterday. It worked when I hit the button. It cut on and stuff, but it was melted. I didn't want it. And I don't know. But long story short, I got a new Nintendo behind that. And from there, it was on. I got me like several games. I was cool. I played and I enjoyed myself and everything. It was awesome. And not long after that, man, I actually was introduced to my cousin that I had never met. And that's another story too. I can talk about that. But he had a Nintendo and he had a gang of games, gang of them. And I always just wanted to go over his house just to play his games because he had so many of them. Stacks and stacks of games. Like, unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I was just like in awe. You know what I'm saying? But behind that, I got really close with my cousin, and to the point where I called him my brother. And to this day, he's my brother. And all of that stemmed from me, going over his house, dying to play his video games, dying to play them. And I played them, played the hell out of them, enjoyed them, stuff like that. Until he came up with the Sega Genesis. Damn! When he got that Sega Genesis, man, I didn't even want my Nintendo no more. I wanted the Sega Genesis. Because he had one. He had this game called Buster Douglas. He had Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. And I think he had maybe one other game. I can't remember. But those two games really stuck out to me. Because I was a huge Michael Jackson fan. And when he had the Michael Jackson game, I just was like, oh, he got that. And you could tell the graphics was better. Everything was just an awesome, better system. I was like, man, I want one of those. I never actually ended up getting one of those until a little while later. I want to say the Sega Genesis came out in 91. I actually got a Super Nintendo first before I got the Sega Genesis. And the reason and the way I got that was that I got another grandmother. Well, funny, she actually just passed away. I'm actually out on work on bereavement because she just passed away um, last Friday, and our funeral was yesterday. So I'm out of work behind it, grieving and stuff, and actually, doing these vlogs and stuff has actually been helping me get through it. But my grandmother actually bought me a Super NES, man. And I was like, oh man, forget the Sega Genesis. I didn't care anymore. Because I think the Super NES came out in 92. I'll forget. But I got Super Mario World, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. And I enjoyed myself. That was awesome. That was a blast. And from there, I actually ended up building up a really big Super Nintendo collection. Later on down the line, I got me a Sega Genesis. I would say probably a year afterward or something like that. I ended up getting a Sega Genesis. My grandmother bought me that. My other grandmother, I had two grandmothers, active grandmothers, And I ain't gonna lie, they pretty spoiled. They spoiled me. They did. I was spoiled, and so they bought me. My one grandmother bought me the Sega Genesis. I mean the Super Nintendo, the one that passed away, and then my other grandmother that I was living with, she bought me a Sega Genesis, and I had all of the games. I had a Sega Genesis, Sega CD. I had the Sega CD, and it was garbage. But I thought it was fascinating at the time because you was playing with like live video, movie video, whatever. But I was playing with that, and I thought it was cool. And I actually I got a Game Boy, a Game Gear. I forgot about that stuff. That came along the line. But I had a Game Boy, a Game Gear, a Sega Genesis, Sega CD, Super NES, and then I was cool with that all the way until the PlayStation came. After the PlayStation, I didn't care. I didn't want nothing Nintendo, nothing, nothing Nintendo, nothing Sega Genesis, none of that. I was on it with the Sony PlayStation, on it. I loved it, loved the Sony PlayStation, bro. Cause honestly, like I said, I was a Sony fan before that. Cause I had the Sony Walkman. I thought that was lit, and their technology was always better than the other Walkmans I was out there. Like they had a Kobe brand, and they had other brands, but none of them can match a Sony. I mean, the sound, the technology, everything. It just destroyed everything that's out there on the market. It was something that did okay. That was kind of comparable, but nothing matched Sony and its greatness on the Walkman. I mean, that was just. And that's what really had me. I was like, man, it's Sony or nothing. And I've been Sony ever since, to be honest with you. And like I said, when I got the Sony PlayStation, I started that out with Tekken 2. I didn't even get Tekken 1. I had Tekken 2 and Warhawk, and I had those demo discs. I had those, and I played the crap out of those demo discs. On the demo disc, one of them was Die Hard Trilogy. I remember that one, and it was another one because it had like several demos on the disc, which I thought was amazing. I thought the graphics was stunning and everything, man. And even before I got my PlayStation, I got a cousin who actually ended up getting a PlayStation before I did, and he had Mortal Kombat, and Mortal Kombat was the direct port from the arcade. It had to be because it looked, sound, everything just like the arcade. And back then, console games could not match arcade games in terms of power, graphics, sound. It was no match. Home console was no match for a arcade. It was no match. But the Sony PlayStation did it. They did it first, and they did it. Boy, did they do it. Boy. And like I said, man, that's the reason why I'm a pony, man. It's because they always innovated. And then when they went from that, and then they went to Dreamcast. But I never left Sony when I had a Dreamcast. I always still played my Sony PlayStation, ever. You know what I'm saying? And I briefly got a Super NES. I mean, a Nintendo 64, but that died out quick. I mean, it was cool. The 64 was cool, but it just wasn't like the PlayStation. The PlayStation to me was just a better system, even though it wasn't even as strong as the Nintendo 64. It was still the better system. The games were better, everything, even the sound. The sound, even though the graphics wasn't as good, the sound was better on the Sony PlayStation because they used CD audio. It was digital sound or whatever. It wasn't that, the 64 just couldn't do it, man. You know what I'm saying? But that was an amazing time. And like I said, I enjoyed playing those games, man. I enjoyed playing all of those games, but my love is just the Sony PlayStation. And even with the Dreamcast, I never let the PlayStation go, even though the Dreamcast blew the Sony PlayStation out the water in terms of graphics and sound and capabilities, playing online and stuff, all that, because they really started to playing online. You know what I'm saying? At least as far as I knew, that's the first one I started playing online was on a dial-up connection. It was dial-up on the Sega Dreamcast, but I still at that time it was fascinating. The lag was atrocious. But like I said, the fascination of me playing online with the Sega Dreamcast is I didn't really care much. I just thought that was amazing stuff. Web browsing on my TV with the Sega Dreamcast. Come on, bro. That was incredible. That was incredible, man. Oh God, that was incredible. But that didn't last too long because when the PlayStation 2 came, I forgot all about the Dreamcast. Didn't give two shits about it, bro. I didn't care about the Sega Dreamcast. Whatever. It was on. The PlayStation 2, it was on. Oh, man. Was in love with that. And I started that system out with Madden 2001. I had WWE SmackDown. Shut your mouth. No, not shut your mouth. Here. Wait. WWE SmackDown Just Bring It. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, it was WWF. Or did it change to WW? Yeah. It was WWF. That's all. Look, I still got it. WWF Just Bring It. When I saw that game, when I saw WWF Just Bring It on the PlayStation 2, I was like, wow, this looks just like TV. I couldn't believe the graphics on that damn thing. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow. I was just stunned, bro. That Madden was amazing. Amazing. I'm like, the graphics, the commentary, it's like watching this stuff on TV. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. I was just in awe. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention all the Tekkens that I played. I ended up getting that. I'm like, man, PlayStation is just the stuff, man. Xbox, they first announced the Xbox like not too long after the PlayStation came out or somewhere around that time. I didn't care about the Xbox. I did not care. And I didn't want an Xbox. I didn't care about an Xbox. None of that. Until Splinter Cell came. When I saw Splinter Cell and I saw the graphics on Splinter Cell, I said I want an Xbox. And I ended up getting an Xbox. And I only got the Xbox to get the Splinter Cell because PlayStation didn't have the Splinter Cell. That is the power of exclusives, folks. That is the power of exclusive games. It made me get an Xbox. Something that I wasn't even interested in. I wasn't even interested in an Xbox. But because they had this game called Splinter Cell and I wanted to play it, I got me an Xbox. That is the power of exclusives, man. Anyways, I played Splinter Cell, enjoyed it, beat it, had fun with it. Everything was outstanding. And I had that and I had Metal Gear. It still couldn't match Metal Gear, but it was still fun. Metal Gear was fire. Metal Gear Solid 2. I didn't even mention 1. I love part 1. I love part 1 on a Sony PlayStation 1. And then when the PlayStation 2 got Metal Gear Solid 2, it was over. The graphics, the gameplay, the story, it was mind-blowing. Mind-blowing, man. But again, that's the power of PlayStation. Not to mention Grand Theft Auto 3. Amazing. Couldn't believe open world run around, jacking people for cars. Back then, I was like, that's revolutionary. That was revolutionary. That was the first time you ever seen some stuff like that. The first time you ever seen some amazing stuff like that. And it was like, wow. I can run up in people's cars and jack them for that, you know what I'm saying? I mean, don't get me wrong. I played the original Grand Theft Auto, and I thought that was cool, but it was much different when it had it in a 3D open world where I could go and do anything I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Pick up hookers, all that. I'm doing that in a PlayStation 2 game of Grand Theft Auto 3. Picking up, get in the car, drive up to a hooker, honk the horn at her, and she get in the car and get you straight. Man, get out of here. On the PlayStation 2. I'm telling you. And you couldn't, I think after a while, it came to the Xbox Grand Theft Auto 3, but for a while, I think it was on, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I didn't know about it. I didn't care. It was on the PlayStation 2, and I played it, and I enjoyed it, and it was just awesome. Awesome experience, man. Awesome. I'm going to share a story about the arcades, too, man. My experience on that, too, but I'll share that later. You know what I'm saying? And if you hung in for 26 minutes, God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. But all this stuff is just significant to me, man. And I just like sharing it. But from the PlayStation 2, I went to I wanted a PlayStation 3. And I just couldn't afford a PlayStation 3 at the time. And so the 360, and actually I was going through a rough patch in my life, so I actually bought a Xbox 360 used. And the reason why I even wanted the Xbox 360 so bad, this is the honest to God truth. I wanted the Xbox 360 so bad because I saw NBA 2K7 running on the Xbox 360, and that was stunning. That was stunning. Again, I only wanted the Xbox 360 just for that game. And I know I could get it on the PlayStation 3, but like I said, at the time, PlayStation 3 was just too expensive. So I got a used one from GameStop. It red ringed on me in like 3 weeks. Took it back to GameStop, got another one. It lasted me for a while before that one red ringed on me. I bought those Xbox 360s used, but like I said, they red ringed on me, you know, from GameStop, and so it wasn't too long after that I ended up getting the PlayStation 3, and I migrated, slowly. I migrated over to the PlayStation 3. Have a look back on the 360. Don't get me wrong, I had a great experience with the 360 as far as like online. Being able to watch Netflix with your friends, that was some live stuff. I was doing that, but like I said, the only reason why I even ended up over on Xbox is because it was just more affordable to jump on there and play those games. Plus, my friends they had Xbox, and we was playing sports games heavy. I still play the sports games heavy with a couple of my friends. He play all kind of games like me, but we go in on their sports games. We go in hard. Madden 2K, we go in hard. UFC. Be vicious battles. But anyways, I ended up getting the 360, and like I said, I was heavy on the 360 for about a year and a half, 2 years. But then when the PlayStation 3, I was able to get one. I got one and didn't look back. I loved every bit of the PS3, every bit of it. Loved it. I didn't really care about parties and party chats and all. I didn't care about that stuff, man. I wanted a game. I don't get in party chats and for what? For what? If I'm gonna get on, and I'm gonna do a video on this too. But if I'm gonna get on a party chat, I'm gonna get on a party chat to talk trash. I'm gonna trash talk you. I'm not gonna get on no party chat to talk about politics, computer components, and girlfriends, and love life, and dinner, and stuff. I'm not gonna do that. What's the point in all of that? If I want to talk like that, I just pick up a telephone. I'm not doing that. I got friends that do that, man. And I get on the game and I see the invite, such and such invited you to a party. It's like, a lot of times I jump in there reluctantly. You know what I'm saying? Because I try to be a good friend. And sometimes you got to be selfless. when you're a good friend, you have to be selfless, you know. But sometimes I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't even I'll just ignore it. I ignore the invite because it's distracting. Play a game like Tomb Raider or a story-driven, narrative-driven game, right? Which you get a lot of, especially during the 7th and 8th generation of gaming, and you get hit with a damn party chat. You know how frustrating that is? You know what I mean? Like, that's frustrating. And then, like, when I was trying to play Days Gone, man, and I got a party chat. And it's like, God. Again, I could ignore it, but I got in it. But when I got in the party chat, I couldn't focus on the story, none of that. And it just took me out. It breaks the immersion. It breaks all of that up. I hate it. I'm going to do a video on that too, man. I hate party chat. I think party chat is one of the worst things ever happened in gaming, man. It is. It's so unnecessary. Who gets on a game to talk? You know what I mean? Like, who does that? If you're going to get on there and talk, you trash talk. That's how I look at it. You're going to talk trash. That's how it's supposed to be done. Not get on there and talk about any and everything, politics and, you know, presidents and voting and the census. And who does that? I know people who do that. It's so annoying. It's so annoying. Anyways, I just got mad just thinking about that because I just think it's so idiotic. But yeah, man. From the PS3, and I got to playing all those games, and then I went right over to the PS4, and I was actually done with the 360 because there was a lot of things that I noticed towards the end of the 360 life cycle that I just thought was disgusting, that I never really paid too much attention to. And I don't even know how I ended up paying so much attention to it, but yeah, man, around like 2012, I started recognizing like the Xbox Live Gold paywall and the batteries and the controllers and all of that stuff. And I'm thinking like, man, and I think I know what happened. I think it was because when I got the PlayStation 3 and I was able to do all of that stuff for free. I was able to play online games for free. I was able to watch my Netflix for free. I was able to chat and stuff for free. Everything was free. Whereas on Xbox, and it was rechargeable batteries in the PlayStation 3 controller. But then when I looked at the Xbox 360, and I realized like, man, they was like really nickel and dime. Like, it stood out to me. The gold paywall and all of that stuff, I noticed it. And so by the time the end of the 7th generation, bro, I was done with 360. I was like, man, I'm cool on them. I'm cool. And that was before they actually came out. Or I was done with Xbox, I mean. That was before they announced the Xbox One and had the DRM policies and all of that jacked up stuff. That really solidified Xbox for me. I was solely unintended on getting an Xbox One. I was not going to get one. For a good strong 2-3 years into the PlayStation, into the 8th generation, I was adamant on not getting an Xbox. Like, screw that. But Phil Spencer came, turned it around. He rolled back that gold paywall. And there were, like I said, there were some games that I wanted to play. And so on the Xbox. And so I buckled and got an Xbox just to play those games. One was Quantum Break, Rise Son of Rome. And I was dying to play Titanfall. The first Titanfall, dying to play those games. Dying. So bad, though, that I actually bought Titanfall for the 360, the Xbox 360, because I still have my 360, and I just to play the Titanfall, but I wanted to experience it on the Xbox One, so I ended up getting it again for dirt cheap. But yeah, man, that's like a brief summary of my gaming experience, man. And like I said, I've been a Sony pony since forever. And since 1994, and I don't see things changing anytime soon. I'll be a Sony pony all the way through the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 6. I'll be 80, 90 years old, Lord willing, playing PlayStation 8 or PlayStation 9. You know what I'm saying? still getting my Sony pony on, bro. Still. But I might have to edit this video down, man. I'm thinking about it because it's long and it's I feel like I left out a lot, and at the same time, I feel like um I said a bunch of stuff I didn't need to say. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't know. Let me know y'all thoughts, man. Tell me, share y'all stories with me, man. I love to hear them. I love the stories that I heard yesterday. Or actually this morning I actually saw those. I enjoyed that. And let me know what's up, man. It's wrong. It was fun. And I'm gone.